Hey, good morning, everybody. This is George and Jake at EDC Leather, and today I got a special treat for you. So, typically, we get a hold of a leather worker and a holster maker in particular that's been around for a while, but today we're going the opposite direction. So, I want to introduce everybody.
Direction.
I want to introduce everybody to Derek Dowsett of Illum Atelier. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. We'll go over how the proper pronunciation is later.
I'm fine with that.
But these guys are up in Salt Lake City. Okay, so Illum Atelier is part of a bigger family of companies. I don't know, are we allowed to kind of talk about that, Derek?
I guess the cat's out of the bag.
The cat's out of the bag. So Illum Atelier is part of the...
I don't think it's a secret.
No, it's part of the Shop Talk family. Okay, which we've had a great relationship with. The Pendleton Leather Show, part of the same family, had a ball there this year. Really had a good time. Also, we went to, you guys do a bunch of, of course, the Burns saddlery, and you do a lot of work for them. Derek, guys, is the videographer, producer, director for all the multimedia stuff that is done, this group of companies. I guess we could say you're part of the AV club, right?
I mean, it's we kind of fall under 1876 media. But yes, I'm the guy with the camera.
and I
was just going to say, it started with photography, with, the barrel racing that Burns does through Burns events and the Extreme Million. And so it's coming on 20 years now that I've been shooting with them. And that back in 2019, we moved from still images to live streaming those events. And so...
Right.
That's kind of where I came from, I guess.
Okay. And we had a great opportunity last year that you offered to me. You guys trucked my butt out to Salt Lake City. Yep. And we did a video series of training and education, I believe, with a pancake holster. It was a fantastic week. I discovered from you that filming is a lot harder work than I thought it was. I was kind of brave when I came in and, we're going to do this here in just a couple days. Holy smokes.
I probably just overcomplicated it.
Well, it was a lot of fun. And, but what I wanted everybody to see in the audience and the people that attend the podcast is, we're going to take a few minutes here after we, kind of finish with our beginning section here. I want to take a few minutes and look around the studio, see how you use light. Okay. I believe you guided me to a company called Niwar on Amazon.
Newer is a company that does light. Yes.
And then you taught me that light is the most important thing I could have. For what we're doing.
It really is. Yeah. There's, if you don't have light, you're not going to have good video. Probably the most important thing in video is actually your audio, that you have clean audio. But without light, you're just in the dark.
There it is. You're in the dark.
So
come back to us, Derek.
So there we go. And so we can play around and you can kind of see how it adds some dimension to my, I don't know how you'd, what's the adjective for my face?
Your sallow complexion.
Grizzled?
Grizzled?
What?
Nothing.
Grizzled?
I didn't say anything. So, when we're trying to show a product on the internet, especially to possible clients, the only way they have to interact with us is through our photography, our video, and description is a far distant third. It seems like I spent more time working on my written descriptions, uh, and it had little to no effect. I mean, in fact, when people had purchased something, I said, "Well, did you read the description?" Well, no, I don't have time for that. So we
Hmm.
have to be able to give them the gist of everything that's going on through our photography and through our videography. And on the videography
Yeah.
and what you can do today, uh, I think our phone cameras are great, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I pull my my pixel out for stills more than my Nikon now. Uh, it's just easier. And it's the same with the iPhones. They're very powerful in what you can get done. Um, they're like you're talking about. You do want to tell that story quickly because people are scrolling or just in a hurry. So you need to have something that's going to stop them. I think the good news is they're interested in seeing kind of just okay, what is it that you've made, and that audience is going to be different in every case, I guess. But let's if I put this here,
Perfect.
that in frame, and I don't know all the secrets in how to make it all work, but if having something to shape the light is nice. Um, I don't know. I kind of like seeing a little of the highlights on there, but you don't want it to be glaring so bad they can't see. As I think about it, if you're trying to sell something, you need to imagine, what is the person going to be looking at when they pick it up and look at it, and trying to recreate that so they get a good idea of the product. You can go too far and put filters and put all this other stuff on there, and I don't think that's necessary. Just take a nice picture. Um, you know, Even going outside works well. The lights indoor, you start getting into color temperature. So indoor lighting is relatively warm. That can help with the leather. If you go too far, I think it makes it hard to tell, what shade of brown is it, or how does that look. But also, you don't want to pull out these blue lights that you get that say they're daylight balanced, um, and have it ruin the color of something you've worked really hard to dye. I hope that's kind of where you were
So, what
going
color
there.
temperature should we be using? Or does it change from phone to camera to.
It's I had this with my phone. The biggest thing is probably not to mix them. That's one of the big rules in video is you really don't want to mix the two colors of light. And what I mean by that is light outside is typically more blue. Light inside from an incandescent light is typically more orange or a warmer color. So we could go here. You can kind of see that's pretty warm.
Right,
We
really
can
yellow
look out.
looking.
We can look outside. I probably should look through the camera, not through the.
There you go. Now it's in focus. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can tell that that's bluer. This camera's set up to shoot just a little warm anyway, and Sony's kind of do that. They just have a warmer color temperature. But if we threw it into, let me see if I can get this in a manual white balance. Okay, there's a manual white balance. And so,
Wow, that almost went black and white.
well, it's probably because we still need, let's put a little neutral density on there. There's some trees. And it's easier to show when we can put two things in the same room. Maybe we can spend a minute on that
Now,
if
now one
if we
thing
really
that
want to get into the weeds. But you
one
know,
trick I learned is on my phones at least.
hmm
If I put a white piece of cardstock down on the table next to my product, and I took a picture of it. The phone saw the white paper, knew that it was white, self-adjusted the white balance, and then I cropped it afterwards, removing the white paper, and I got a lot truer color on my browns.
Yes, and that'll help a ton. I mean, that's really what you used to do with a camera. That was one of the steps, is you would tell it what color white is. And this is particularly true in a video camera, is you set what's called a white balance. Your DSLRs, you can do the same thing. You can reel in numbers and, custom
Which gets
set
way
a
over my
number.
head.
Yeah. Generally, the lower the number, the warmer the light. And then the higher it is, the more blue it is.
What's our target
And
number
so,
if I'm buying a light from like that newer or something? Is it 5600?
Again, that's going to fall into, if you're trying to use the light with other lights that are incandescent, let's say, you would probably aim for like a 3200K is a number you will see. That is indoor light. You will see it marketed as white light in some cases. I picked up some lights from Home Depot, and they're like white. And they're not. They're a very warm color. Daylight is going to be about 5600K. In the studio, we're shooting 5600K here, and I am actually mixing light sources. So if you look behind me, that light's very warm looking, right?
Right.
Kind of yellow compared to me. And that's because those are an incandescent. That's going to be probably a 4000K light bulb.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, that's what you're looking at. I would suggest turning off your fluorescent lights off in your shop, or don't use fluorescents to light with, because they typically have green in them.
That'll really blow your browns up.
Yeah, so it can do some weird things there. Plus, you also have a cycle. Like if you turn on a video camera with just fluorescents on, sometimes you can actually see the cycle of
And I
how
think
the
a
lights
lot of us are using LED lights in our shops now.
LEDs are hit and miss. You can still get some where you will see a flicker, or you may run into that.
Okay.
Something you can try to fix that is changing your shutter speed on your camera if you're set in a manual mode. Now, if you're just trying to use your phone and you're fighting it.
That's it. I'm wanting to talk about using my phone.
Okay. So your phone is really only as smart as what they've put in it, and they've gotten really good at being able to take good pictures with lots of things going on. I would say probably the thing to look out for is if you are running into a problem. I have a flicker, the color's just not right. Then you start looking at, okay, how do I trick my phone? I put the white piece of paper down, or what are some of these, or I use a different light source. Those would be the quick and easy ways to get around that. And then once you get a system that works, use it.
Right. Now, we found we really gained some advantages by turning all the lights off in the shop and only using our 5600K lights when we're doing still shots for product photography. Okay.
Yes.
We found a lot of advantage doing that. So literally we made the whole shop dark, and there's this one bright spot right on the bench where we're taking the pictures. But boy, it sure improved the pictures.
Oh yeah, it should. Yeah. That is the power of being able to control light. It's like when we shot in studio, we have this big, nice window behind us or in front of us, depending on which way we're shooting. But we can't control the sun very easily unless we overpower it, which you can't typically do. But I guess the point is that, if you can control the light, then you can make it do what you want to do, whether that is being more directional with it, bouncing it, softening it. Everything in the studio that I'm using is in what's called a chimera or a soft box.
Okay, now that we're going to get a picture of those lights in just a moment, but I'm going to have Jacob hand me one of our lights. Don't laugh at it. We use chicken heater lights with the aluminum dome reflectors, and we have tissue paper taped over the top of it with a 5600 light behind it. So we will use 2 to 3 of those lights. And now these here, I've got some SL60s, I think, with white tissue paper in front of them as well. We got them in an auction. How cool is that, right?
Yeah. That's kind of the fun part of lighting, is kind of designing what you want.
But you know,
when you say tissue paper, that kind of scares me. But
remember the clamp-on lights? You squeeze them to clamp on something with the metal domes.
Yeah.
We use those for a lot of time. Now, here's what we're using. Is this kind of light, and it's a 60 with a 5600K light in it, and literally tissue paper taped to it is our diffuser.
Another good way to diffuse that a lot of
here's our other
leather
old school.
There you go. I hope that's an LED bulb in there.
They are all LED bulbs. This one, actually, this is no bulb. Jake stole it. But we were able to buy the LED bulbs in the 5600 and 5400, I believe, as well.
Now, a place to look for LED bulbs that I really like, they have what's called a really high CRI. It's your color rendering index. Is waveform.
CRI. Okay.
And that's just how the light, it's really measuring how similar to the sun. The sun is considered the perfect light source for rendering light, what a color actually looks like.
Okay, so is waveform the company?
Anyway, the higher the CRI, if you're 97% or higher, you're great. But I don't know if you've ever been to, a hotel and everything just looks dingy, because of the lights. So they're probably like an 80 CRI, something lower. And that's typically where you will see the difference between spending a little more money on a light bulb and, and not just looking at the color temperature. And I don't know that a lot of people measure it or talk about it, but CRI is an important part of making sure that when you put that light on a color, that whatever that color is, it reproduces it the way you want.
Okay.
And it is a funny thing. I pulled my my phone out and took a picture of Braden and Jake. They were in studio talking about some different leathers. We're putting a class together for that, and I shot, Rachel. You've met Rachel. She is here in studio to make sure that as we put things together, that the instruction is clear so somebody can follow along with what it is we're filming. But so she's looking at our video cameras all day, and then I took a picture, and she's like, well, were their shirts blue or purple? And it was that big of a difference between the two cameras and how the light sources were working. And I told her, first off, in studio, we mutz with the color a little bit to produce what we want to see. I'm not as concerned about reproducing color perfectly. I'm trying to, you can see it's kind of moody. I think it's good to look at. I'm looking at me and I'm not convinced, but usually, you look good in studio.
That's the subject matter more than the
yeah, right. Yeah, so. It's who's in studio, but I would look worse if we didn't have the soft lights. That's softening a lot of.
So you said
flaws.
I'm looking for a high CRI light.
High CRI, and a great place to look is waveform.
Okay.
They produce, and they're just a simple, like with your the light you were showing, that mechanics light that you just screw any light into. You could throw a set of those in.
Really?
I think I threw them in my kitchen and I love them. I would probably film with those. They work really well. I have not
How
tested
much are we
them
paying for a
flicker.
light bulb on those, do you think? Just guessing.
I would say probably 25 or 30 a piece.
$25 or $30 a piece. And really, we're going to be able to get away with 3 of those. You're going to show us some examples of that, you know.
Yeah, 3-point lighting is what I'm using here. And it allows you to kind of set, like if you're shooting a person. With product photography, you could probably get away with a little bit less, especially if you're bouncing light, because you can use reflection.
So go down to your downshot video and sketch us out like our 3-point lighting, an example what I would use.
I'm gonna ruin that. Let's see here, just a sec. So, okay.
You're great.
Okay. So, if you have your product here,
Okay.
product's not going to matter so much, really, with...
I'm seeing the top of your head. Awesome. There we go.
That?
Yeah.
There we go. Because I'm going to be able to speak more about like what the setup is we have right here. Let's do this, and we'll talk about a person. You're lighting a person.
Well, I'm going to be lighting a wallet, let's say. I'm lighting my leather product or that holster there.
Okay. Okay. I think it would be similar. I would... Deal with me here for a minute. Okay, so now we got 2 light sources on this.
And it's kind of dim. Is it possible to brighten that up?
It is kind of... Yeah, here, let me change our...
Let's go less moody. Aha!
Well, and part of it's just that it's not exposed correctly.
Right.
I would probably put this in a much different setting. Like, personally, I'd shoot this outside.
Okay.
The sun is your best friend.
So in the direct sun, do you think, or do you think shade, or just cloudy?
No, I'd diffuse it. Or a cloudy day is a beautiful day. Time of day, so early. So the time to get the best light is like first thing in the morning or right as it's going down. It just, there's a quality to it that's just really neat. But that's one of the things that, you know, you as a maker, if you're trying to show off your project, you know, I'd take it out in different places. I wouldn't waste my time with direct sunlight, but it may work well on something dark like this, that with the sun, you're not going to get these highlights like we're getting here in studio.
Yeah, and there you can see the molding
because they're so close. So I would suggest playing around with that, but you know, finding a place in the shade. I am a fan of diffused light, but I also like really contrasty pictures. You know, when I shoot. And like I was telling you when we were talking before, I haven't done a lot of just shooting, you know, product photography type stuff. But we could play. I don't know. Do you have it? Do we want to play with this?
Let's play a little bit with it, but let's show them from which directions are like. You're a little now. I can't even see the product. We're too.
Yeah. Just I gotta.
There you go.
A little dyslexic here.
There you go.
And then I'm gonna pull back. That gives us an idea. So here, let's go through a couple things. Let's see, that light's not really doing a dang thing right there. So
no light.
And this is a great way to go through doing that. Still no light. Turning the fluorescents on, which they suck.
That's fluorescent lighting, okay.
But let's try one light here. Let's play around with just one light.
Okay, so now we have just one angle, still pretty dark, and I'm getting, from the bottom trigger guard side, a little bit of reflection.
Yeah, maybe we need to flip it over too. But
and maybe if we
let's just blast it
tilted
with some
maybe
light.
if we tilted the holster up a little bit. Aha! Now looky there, we're starting to get some stuff happening, aren't we?
Let's see. You got this heinous this shadow.
Okay.
Right? That's the problem with single point light.
Single point lighting. Okay.
And that's one of the things that is lessened by the sun, just purely because of the distance from, it's so far away.
Right.
But yeah, direct sunlight, that's the issue is the shadows. Now, if we were to just get in and start, this is just a piece of paper, right?
Okay.
You can see that shadow going away.
How are
and
you
that's
doing
really,
that? Oh,
I'm
you're
just
holding
reflecting.
it at a 90-degree reflecting light back.
Yeah,
underneath.
I'm just taking whatever's shining at me, and I'm sending it right back, and I'm just, let's see here.
That was pretty
I need more
significant.
hands, George. But if you have one light, then you do something like, we don't want to come straight down on it. Let's see what we can do here. And bear in mind, we're doing some weird stuff here just because of how we're shooting. But if we come in, I don't know. The highlights are still really here. We can really make this. Let me turn this down. I hope I'm not boring everyone to death.
No, this is actually, for me, this is valuable.
Like
this is liquid
weeds.
gold.
So you can still see those highlights. So maybe what you do is you take another layer of, I really don't have anything good to do that with right here, right now. But I just really want to show you how just kind of putting that little bit of extra light in there.
Mm-hmm.
You even see that.
Right. Now this is one light, and is it
This
over
is
your
one
left
light.
shoulder?
So let's do it. There's two lights.
Still,
this
the
one's
shadow
more
is
just
still there.
Yeah, it's because it's so far away. And it's not really aimed correctly. So let's see what we can do. Well, and again, that's better, but it's similar to just kind of, actually looking at it now, that helps it quite a bit.
It made a huge difference.
And I mean, there's going to be guys that do this all the time that are probably going to go, well, I don't know.
But we're still getting better. Now it seemed to darken down a little bit again.
Yeah, I'm just adjusting the light just to kind of, like I said, I like really contrasty stuff. But, for product photography.
Oh, looky there.
Really.
Look at those shadows disappear. What did you just do?
So I turned on our key light, which is the main light. It's that China ball or the chimera.
Okay.
I think you probably remember is hanging above your head.
So that's your third light.
See, this helps.
Light.
So now we're to two lights. I just turned the other one that we were using off. And I kind of like that better. Because really what we want is we want some of that dimension. We don't want it to be 2D.
Correct. We want to
And this
see...
is where and that company you were talking about, Newer, Neewer,
mm-hmm.
They make a inexpensive light box. And this works well because and correct me if I'm wrong, I think Etsy and a lot of the sites really do want just kind of a picture of your product on white.
We are required to provide them, I think it's called a cyclo wall picture, which is the white where you have the backdrop comes down and curls down. And it is a picture one that they want one picture of that. And then the rest of them, they're very specific on what they want. They want something that shows perspective. So with other objects, so they can, the buyer can understand what size your product is. Okay.
Okay.
They want to see an action shot. So for a holster, you would show it on a belt with a hand down near it. Okay. Or a
Okay.
belt, or a belt, you may show the person with their first four fingers in their pocket, their hand over their belt. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Then they want to see.
Yeah, and
so they give you a specific list of exactly what they want to see.
cool. Well, and I guess if anybody's watching this and they're, because I'd like to gauge interest in something like this, and like you've said, there's quite a bit, but I guess leave some comments for us of what would you like to know? I'd be happy to take a look at it and see if I can't, make it difficult.
and if we can recreate, so we can go to Amazon to Newer, which is Neewer, and I believe they have a 3-point light setup, or they have a 2-point light setup with the lights and the umbrellas. So we'll look at those in a minute, okay? And then
you can look at those, and then they have all sorts of products. I have not personally used them, but the price point is pretty incredible.
The ring light that you're dealing with right now, I think this is a 24-inch ring light that I'm running. Came with its own stand and everything, and you can adjust up and down. Hey, Jake, turn us up and down on our ring light. And
so with the ring light, that's you'll notice that's
so if
why
it's now
yours
it's turned
is
off.
so evenly lit.
Right now it's turned off. Okay, so now let's bring it up. And about right there, I saw some skin tone.
And that would actually be a really good. Do you use that with your product photography?
We just got this. We have not done any product photography since we got this. Or Jacob says he's done one item.
The thing they are really cool because
down a little bit, Jake. You're trying to kill me. He likes to put it at.
He likes to turn it off.
Nuclear, melt your face off. And then, so that ring light is from there, and I think this was $119, including the tripod, fully adjustable up and down. And now you feel that this would be a good product to you shoot through the middle of it, so you can angle it down to your product.
It's going to get rid of a lot of your shadows. Like you'll see how even it's used a lot in like portrait photography, like high fashion model photography. You can tell when they're using it because the thing to watch out for is you can sometimes see in highlights or reflections. You'll see the ring.
That's like how I learned about them.
If you got really close to your camera, you'd get these freaky things like they'd see the ring in your eyes.
I see it a lot on social media.
Yeah, and because everybody's using them, but they give you a nice even light because you are coming all the way around the lens, so you're not ending up with something kind of like what we have going on here. Where it's really, this isn't
got a little horror film going on right there.
Yeah. I mean, it changed it. Scary, right?
It changes the mood. Oh,
yeah, and so that's what's kind of. I'm just gonna turn it off because I don't like that spill.
Right.
But what that's for is to pop me off of the background. See, now it's kind of a flatter shot.
Okay. So find video.
We've got way in the weeds there.
Well, no, but this is what every time someone's a photographer, they think that it's going off in the weeds, okay? But as a craftsperson, we're not a photographer. And so anytime we can get this kind of information, this is going to alter the way we display our products and probably alter our profitability. So this is huge, man. This is...
Okay.
For us guys that don't know nothing, we see light kits out there for various prices. Every photographer tells you to get light. That's it. That's where they end. So this is pretty valuable. So
and again, I haven't tested those ones, but light is light. What you will find is that the more money you spend, the more true the light source is. And maybe you can answer that. Like, so photographers, I can say this because I am one, is we will buy anything that makes photography easier. There's all sorts of, and it's just fun to get a new camera, to get a new light, flash, C-stand, whatever. And maybe it's similar with leatherwork, right?
It's a trap.
Yeah, it is a trap.
We buy stuff because it helps, but it's also cool. But most of the equipment that we buy in leatherwork, maybe the same thing for you, we buy equipment in order to A, make the process quicker, but B, to make it the same. We want consistency every time. So the guy that buys a wallet or a holster or a belt today comes back, 3 months later, he's like, man, I'm going to get this for all my friends for Christmas. This is really awesome. And he expects the same fit and finish and quality of his. And our equipment provides us that consistency of build.
Oh, yeah. Well, and, depending on how, the way I think about things is I'm always trying to get a dual purpose out of it, right? So I would look at how I could get a light that would make it easier to tool or to see what I'm doing, because I know there's so much detail here, and working with all these different artisans, I've set things up the way I want, but sometimes it's just terrible for you guys, because if the light's in the wrong spot and you're sitting there trying to stamp, if I've got a shadow.
If you move your hand away a second, I'm gonna come in on this. Zoom in a little bit on that.
Okay.
And reposition. Okay, now look at that, guys. A fantastic shot. I mean, right there, if I had a still of that is a great piece of product photography right there. The light's coming from all around. Yep.
And it's maybe a touch hot and a little shiny, but you just...
Yeah, but that's 3 different lights, right?
This is just 2 right now.
Coming in at 2 different angles, or one from the top and one at one angle?
They're actually both coming from here, from the front. So, and here, I'll show you. So, or only play a cameraman. I'm not really. So there's our chimera.
That's just basically a big hanging ball.
It's just a ball, and it's a China ball. There's some trendy lights that you can get that are just China. They're like a tissue paper with a light source inside. And then we've got this, and you'll see it's got a grid on it. And this is just this is really directional. I use this so it doesn't spill on the background.
So that's what the grid's for, is to say, you go here.
Yeah, that I think we had it on when I shot that picture of you in studio. That was George was the February 2023 cover of Shop Talk.
Hey, take it.
It was a dang nice picture. So I shot George. It was like this last minute thing. Remember, I was like, I forgot to take your picture. We got to run down there.
I get to take your picture.
And you took my picture. There are a couple of things there. Like, you centered me perfect. Like, I was like this. And so I had to crop it, because really we want,
I didn't know that.
Rule of thirds. and so, yeah, so if you look at the picture I used, I just cropped in, but I just handed the camera to George. I said, take a picture, and he did a dang nice job for it. I
can push you buttons, man.
I know, right? And then, so yeah, it is harder than it looks, but it is I would say, and I've been doing this about a year now, so I'm not totally qualified, but I've seen a lot of leather projects, right? Shooting in studio. There is definitely something to be said for doing it. You got to do it. And you had me really nervous talking about this because I'm not. It's like so many things where you're like, well, I just do that, and after you do it for a while, you kind of forget the reason. But there absolutely are rules,
and we discussed that before. And oftentimes, in trying to teach leather or explain something to somebody, you end up skipping things because your hands know what what they're doing, and you're on autopilot. You're just auto driving through the whole thing, And so then when you would turn
you're saying
around,
you is like a universal. I don't.
but then you would come back and say, "Why did you do that?" Oh, well, heck. And then we would go into that detail. So the big things, so a few things let's recap on lighting, okay?
Okay.
And experimenting, okay? So 3 sources of light, one directly down, one from one side, one from the other, both coming to the product from the front. You taking pictures from the back, correct? And where is your camera at? Make a triangle for your camera pointing to the product.
So the cameras are right here.
Okay, so the camera is actually coming in between 2 of the lights.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the camera and then little dots go to the product.
So,
and then we have our 3 lights. Now, so none of the lights are directly above the product, are they?
No, they are coming in. They are higher. So like that's going to be something you'll play with depending on the product.
But
with the person, I'm coming in like at a 45-degree angle.
Right, but on that, a big old ring light might replace 2 of those lights for product photography, right?
Yeah, I'd have to look into that some more, but yeah, it will get rid of all the shadows.
Great.
And so if you're really trying to just show, I'll have to play with it.
And we will. So
now.
We know that 2 light colors that we're interested in. 3200K is similar to incandescent light. Is that correct?
Incandescent, yep.
And if we want to get
or what used to be incandescent,
more of a whiter light, we would look at going to 5600K. We want a light bulb with a high
daylight. It's
okay. We want a light with a high CRI, and that stands for
color rendering index.
Color rendering index. A place that we can get lights of this style is Waveform.
Waveform makes some nice high CRI bulbs that.
And then we can get some pictures from Neewer, Neewer, off the Amazon.
Well, those are going to come with your lights in them.
Okay, so we'll start with that. All right. So using that core right there and trying to use 3 lights coming from the angles and our camera from in between, we can start experimenting and try to improve our product photographs there. And then we can all pick on you to get to get some specific instances. Like maybe we'll have a product and you and I'll get a chance to get together. We'll have a product and we'll experiment with some phone cameras and 3 or 4 ways of setting up light to take a picture of that one product. Is that cool?
Yeah. I think that'd be fun.
And I'm going to give everybody that watches this video Derek's personal cell phone number.
Don't do that.
So you can call him with all your light questions.
Once a day. No, just leave a comment and we will answer your question in the order it was filed.
Okay. The next thing, so let's talk about Aloom for just a minute here. And a lot of people don't know about this product. So Aloom is an online learning platform. It is a monthly fee, and you have just instructor after instructor after instructor going into detail, step by step, some pretty intense projects. And I know you had Ed LaBar.
Ed LaBar came and did the standing bear.
Fantastic.
He taught his Nature's Colors dye technique, and he also did the 3 oak leaves. And these are classes he does do live, but
these classes
what
are
I
not
look
just
at,
a short YouTube video. These things are hours long
no.
and broken down into chapters and a
Yes,
lot of it has
and
downloadable content to work with as well, right?
correct, yeah. So like, let's talk about your course. So you were kind enough to provide the patterns for a Glock 17. No, it was a Glock. Well, we did a
Glock
Glock
19
17.
and
We
a
did a
17.
Glock 19, and we designed a Glock 27. Right?
Glock 26.
You remember?
Glock 26.
Was it 26? Okay, I'm just making up models now, probably. But
yeah. But we worked with several different handguns.
But several different models of the Glock. But George went into detail, and this is really where we're trying to differentiate ourselves. Is the idea is to walk away knowing how to make lots of things, not just, oh, now I know how to make this very particular wallet. We really try to give you a way to think about lots of projects. So you may take the one class to do the holster and go, okay, I don't have a Glock. I have a 1911. You should be able to take that same class. And we will do. I want to do a 1911 class with you at some point. But
okay.
The principles are the same.
We start with the fundamentals.
You got into that.
Yeah, we start with the fundamentals of how to measure the product that you're wanting to mold leather around. How to convert it so now you know exactly what size to cut your leather to mold around that product. And so all those principles remain the same across every single firearm in the spectrum, but not just firearms. So it works for books as well, if you want to make a book cover. The exact same principles apply.
It is.
Had Chuck Dorsett from Weaver doing a book cover.
Chuck Dorsett.
Paul
Zalazak from Leather Wranglers came. He actually said that a lot. Is the principles and the foundations and principles are the same.
And what did he build?
A lot of you instructors
what did you
say
build
that.
with him?
He is. What's interesting about a lot of the instructors that I've encountered is they're also tool makers. And so Paul teaches, did a class for us on swivel knives. So like everything you'd ever want to know about a swivel knife is in there, and including the sharpening. We did a lot of sharpening. And what's interesting about Paul is he has tried just about every way, the oil stones, water stones, all the different ways to sharpen stuff. And he's kind of come out with, this is going to do most of it. Now, you may get into, I know everybody has their technique that they like.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there are nuances, but before you go out and buy the, what is it, an Arkansas stone, or there's a very rare stone you can get, and it's going to give you a nice keen edge, but in my hands, it's probably just as good as my dad's oil stone in the garage.
Right.
I'll very well as ruin an edge on anything on whatever I use. And so, but when you learn the principles and the fundamentals, then you can, it's like, okay, I do the swivel knife. Oh, I can do this with my edger. Man, I got some kitchen knives. I mean,
yeah,
there's guys. I mean, Paul loves sharpening stuff, and
I love guys like him. And then you had Barry King come down. You're talking about tool makers.
Barry is his brother. Ryan King came, and he did some stamping. But we do have Barry on. We're going to get him in here. But so a lot of you guys are really busy.
To drive some of their various stamps that may be a little more challenging.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that, and one of the things that I was struggling with myself, is basket stamp. and how to set the angle and what to think about there. So he kind of teaches that in his course.
Wow.
He is kind of fun. He did the, I don't know, have you seen the Ryan flower?
Wow. I have not. How cool is that?
I wish
I'm getting dizzy looking at it.
It is. So here, let me do this to you.
Oh, stop.
Ooh, it's a little psychedelic. But he pulled out, I think he did this with 4 stamps.
Yeah. I'm getting
And
a maul from Jacob. Give me the big maul. Give me the big.
He's giving you a big maul to hit stuff with?
Oh no, this
48?
Garrett, my partner, okay, here at EDC, he likes hammers. The bigger the hammer, the better. So he calls up Barry King. So here's a nice little Barry King maul. This is Jake's. Okay.
Okay.
Cool, right?
What is that? What is that? A 24?
What is this? 2436? 24? I think. Okay, and then Garrett calls up Barry. This is like
I don't think he wants you advertising that he made this.
Barry said he's never going to make another one. But Garrett's got really bad shoulders, okay? And we punch a lot of belt slots and holsters, 16-ounce leather. So Garrett needed a maul that did the work. So he raises it up and lets the weight of the maul come down. And it's kind of like a
sledgehammer.
Right. And right
so
now,
so that's a 20-pound maul.
I think it's like 6 pounds, 6 or 7. Barry said he's never going to make another one. But it's a known thing in leatherworking. You've only got so many hammer strikes, or so much molding, or so much pressing in your wrists and shoulders and elbows and those joints, and a lot of us. We come to leatherwork fairly early, but then you don't, through the the 20s and 30s, you're not as productive, and then later in life you really start hammering out production, and at that point you're already you're wearing, your muscles are getting worn out, your joints are getting worn out, so we try to take care of that. So Barry's just a fantastic guy.
Is there like a club to get in, Arthritis Anonymous?
Ibuprofen. Actually, on your tool rack, you have a very specific tool from Barry King, a sharp radius edger. Would you mind getting that and bringing it back to the camera?
Yeah.
I went to the iFlog in Dallas, and I went to Pendleton, and I think Barry said I was his best salesman that he had. This is not a bassinet. This is a sharp radius edger. It is made specifically to edge bevel belt slots in holsters without marking the leather up. And I think it's either a $45 or a $60 tool, and he could charge more and we'll pay for it. So it
was in your course. That was handy.
Yeah. And then you had Chuck Dowsett from Weber.
Yeah. So, and that was one of the first projects I did with my son. We were going to bring it so you could see what I did to it, but it's probably better just to show what Chuck made. But but yeah, we made this cool.
Let me get to this scene. There we go. You have to pull back on that. So wow, a little bit of filigree.
A little filigree, these cool dots. It was fun. I really liked it. My, let's see, the 5-year-old, we had this sitting out, and not this one, but the one we were working on, and she took the 1-inch Vayner scallop and put it right in the middle of it. And anyway, it is important when you're watching our videos, or really any videos, to maybe go through it. Watch it first before you start. As my kids were running around and I was trying to do this project, I'm sitting there and I was putting the top coat on right after the antique. And right as Chuck says, "Now put this on sparingly," I'm sitting there slathering it on, and I'm watching it suck the antique right back out. And it was a first leather project. I mean, to the untrained eye, I think it was pretty darn good. We had some fun. But I probably show it to you and you go, yep, that's a first leather project.
That's nice. Your son did a great job. So here's some. Who else have we had on there?
Let's see. We talked about Ed, Ryan, Matt Warner from Burn Saddlery he's done a bunch of courses with us. One of them building a ranch saddle, which was really neat.
So you going chapter by chapter? I mean, going all the way through
We go
this?
chapter by chapter. We went all the way through. So, yeah, covering the tree.
Now, a saddle, someone that wants to build a saddle from this course, can they get a hold of you guys at Burns and get a tree?
I bet they could. I mean...
That would be the key.
I don't see why not. Yeah, I mean, so we can point you in a direction.
We don't know that, but we can find out.
Yeah, we're not going to have a tree to sell yet, no, but we would be able to give you some guidance. And, if that's we're trying to get a tree course filmed. We had one slated, but because of the crazy weather we've had everywhere, the instructor wasn't able to make it. But Matt has also started a series on repairing, which was really interesting. And, and cleaning. We cleaned what ended up being about 100-year-old saddle.
Really?
We started that a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I was sitting there and we were going through it, and the riggins had a tear in them, and there were definitely some issues with it. And I look at Matt and I'm like, is this really worth cleaning?
Oh, yeah.
Just being completely ignorant, right? Because there's sentimental value. And he's like, well, yeah, this is this person's great-grandfather's saddle. It's over 100 years old. Oh. How do you not screw that up? That'd be an important thing to understand.
You have an awesome responsibility at that point.
Yeah, when somebody hands you that and you're like, oh yeah, let me get the power washer out. Don't do that.
Somebody you might want to get a hold of too is at YB Saddlery out of Kansas City, Donna Lucci Taylor. Mm-hmm. And she actually has a series of having to go in and clean the waxes out of the carvings. But what a fantastic saddle repair, saddle builder, and saddle cleaning. And she teaches saddle cleaning and repair at her shop. And I'm not even sure.
No,
I don't even know if she charges anything.
When you mentioned her, we got her on our list. So, we...
And what's some other things you got happening? Any other carvers you got going on, or toolers?
Carving, tooling. Yeah, well, I just recorded with Lexi. You met Lexi.
I met Lexi, yeah.
But she's also with the Burns crew. We started doing just a bunch of belt patterns. It's just different renditions of what is probably a Sheridan style, acanthus, some different flowers. Anyway, just a really great, just quick course too. We're trying to get some stuff in there, so not everything's a 10-hour build a saddle type course. We shot a very intense class with Gordon Andrus on case making, where we made a custom case for a sketchbook.
Wow!
But again, it was taught so that you could take a pair of binoculars or really anything that you're going to mold around and build it. And he did some amazing tooling on that. I spent some time with him again about a week ago at his shop with Matt, just on some projects that Matt was working on. And I just was kind of intrigued because he has, and it seems like a lot of you guys are into a lot of different things, but he had like 5 different, he engraves, he has a wood shop.
Yeah, we have attention spans longer than ground squirrels on Red Bull. We do. So, we have a whole bunch, of things going on already. What do you got coming up?
Well, we got you coming.
I am. Hey, now that you mention it, brother,
You better get ready.
We're gonna have a fantastic time. Garrett is doing the build outs right now. We build different. We'll build. I think I'll probably be up there with 12 different holsters and different levels of build, and we do it in the class, and then I can go right to the next step with one. That's a snap cake.
Is this one that we were going to build?
That is not one we're going to build. We're going to do it at taco.
This was a snap version, so the taco.
We're going to do that one right there, okay? And then we're going to do a snap version of that one. So if you pull that snap cake in there, okay? And then what we're going to design for is on the left-hand side of that, instead of a belt slot, it's going to have a snap loop. So when you got somebody that's old and decrepit like me and has a hard time getting around to get that off, you'll be able to use it. So we're going to build both of those. We're going to have some bonus projects going on. We're going to do mag pouches. We're going to talk about gun belts and reinforcement and non-reinforcement. It's just going to be a ball. And these are kind of be lead-up classes to stuff we're going to be teaching in Pendleton live as well.
Cool. And so we got just about everything that I sent you on the list. Is that what Garrett? I never kind of got the list back of here's what we actually want to do.
He actually sat down and started cutting and putting stuff together and screaming at me and telling me that I didn't order in hardware. The normal part of my life that comes from that. But that's no problem. It's all coming. It'll be there. Everything will be there on time. I will be last minute and confused. That's my job, to be old and confused.
Rachel is going to be reaching out. You'll probably be talking to me again before then. But you're coming out. I've got Bob Klenda.
Bob Klenda, Colorado. You going to do some chinks, brother? Or saddlebags?
I don't have the list of what he's doing.
Oh, my God. So he is...
Okay, yeah, we'll just... So just kind of answering who's coming.
Yep, just start with
that.
We
talked about you. So, yeah, we've got Bob Klenda coming, Aaron Heiser, Julie, I always get her last name.
Bogger.
Boggin.
Julie, the amazing chap lady.
Julie Bogner. Julie Bogner is coming. Okay. And then... we talked about you're coming out. We're going through. We're doing a repair series with Matt, and we're just working on just getting a whole list of different people to come out and record with us.
I want a little bit of detail. So you got Bob Klenda coming. Do you know what you're doing yet?
Don't know. We find that it's more interesting to keep everything a secret from me.
Oh, come on. Oh, they're keeping it a secret from you? Well, all right. So you got Julie coming. I know what Julie makes, the best in the business at doing the chaps and the chinks and setting up the fittings. Just fantastic. So my next question is going to be, all right, so you got Aaron Heiser coming. Aaron has always got something cool in the works. Tell me that you know.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
I just know that he's coming. I'm sorry. We reach out to you. You know the drill. We send the instructor guide. You don't read it. And then we have to pester you.
I had you read it to me on the phone.
Did I? Oh, okay.
Aaron Heiser just put out a picture of a new watch band that he did, aviator style watch band. And it's got the click link on the back and no metal touches
I think
your
I saw that.
Wow. How freaking cool is that? And something that's very approachable by every leather worker out there. And what a neat product. And Julie and Bob Klenda, nicest guy in the world. I have talked time and time again to people that have bought a pattern that he made, right? And he has his phone number on his patterns. And then they call him, and he walks them through, challenging areas. And he's an active rancher. So how cool is that?
That's awesome.
You
know more about it than I do right now.
So
he does watch bands too, though, doesn't he?
I don't know if he does or not. I got a teaser for you. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
This is, I'm sliding it back and forth. This is going to be the new Avenger in the Snap version, Snap Vengers, we call it. And we will be building this in this next class with you. You know,
Excited.
and then
Could be cool.
your next new product, weep, is going to be this. It's coming out for you guys. It's going to have Illum Atelier on it, right? And this is based on the first class that we taught. So there will be all the leather necessary to build this holster already clicked out. Okay. And even the plastic bag you're going to use, a 4mm plastic bag, so they can do the final stretch on their holster.
Oh, wow. You sent them the bag even.
Yeah.
That's
so
smart.
remember when you use it to make the stretch?
You're always thinking.
I'm a fancy fella.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is our Herman Oak, the one that they tanned for us, the EDC holster prep.
Okay.
So it's going to do that. And then inside of it, now this is just a stack of cardstock because I was measuring it. But there's going to be 5 different patterns in each one of these kits. And you're going to have these kits for the Cake 0, the Cake 8, same thing, 8-degree cant.
Oh, okay.
The Avengers in 0 and 8. Okay. The Snap Cakes. Heck, we're even going to be doing shoulder holster kits that you guys will be able to market.
We're excited. No,
Take it to the shows with you, have a ball. And this is all part, guys, this is a part of a partnership between us and Aloom. And to hopefully be able to, the people have taken the course, they've taken the class, and now they're going to be able to actually, they may not have the type of leathers that we talk about and that we use in the class, so they're going to be able to access them, at a very reasonable price. And for all the guys that are familiar with EDC, you know about our click and ships. So think about a click and ship with an envelope with all kinds of patterns and already set up for you. It's going to be rocking the house. It's going to be cool. So
excited.
I'm stoked. So like I said, you've got lots of content coming up. I mean, if you were to guess right now, and just to guess, how many hours of content do you have available for these leatherworkers right now?
We're sitting probably around 60 hours of content, roughly. And then Rachel added up if you were to take each of the classes separately, and we were just shy of $10,000. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on there. There absolutely is.
Yeah. If you were to take like my classes at Pendleton and Heiser's classes and all that, and so they're, for one fee, they're getting that all the time. Now you were talking about the community of Aloom.
Yeah. So within Aloom, I mean, our entire mission is to elevate what you guys are doing as leather crafters and makers. We want to be able to give you an educational experience that's going to hone your craft, make what you are doing better, and the whole mission is to make the entire industry, better. Because when you know what you're doing, you're going to make better products and you're going to charge the right amount, and it's going to make it a more solid industry. And we talked about that in your class on pricing and costing, and at length just as we were recording. We get really excited about that. I mean, that's why we do Shop Talk. That's why we do the Pendleton Leather Show. It all comes down to making the whole experience of being a leather worker better. And so the community becomes a place where you guys can work together. You can show us what you're working on. You can ask questions. We were just talking the other day, we have an instructional designer, Rachel, who keeps George and I in line when we're recording, but really she is able to go in and make a course a course. It's not just a how-to video. It's pulling out a materials list. It's pulling out patterns. It's really breaking down the fundamentals so that you can quickly go find what you need, learn it, and then apply it right away to things you're already doing or new things that you want to do or do better. And so the community is a place where we're going to have, and by the way, that's, free in our world. It costs your email address, but we really want to get people in there, and for this to be a resource where we can all come together and share ideas, talk about projects, and sorry, I got off track there. We were talking to Rachel, and we thought it would be interesting to start getting people in there as a cohort, so we could talk to you and go, what do you want to learn, so we can start getting tracks, so a holster making track, so you can get your PhD in holster making, so that it makes your skills more marketable, whether you're doing it on your own or maybe you get into a business, but making that stronger. Something I was going to ask you about is maybe we'll go live. I know you've talked to me about this a little bit, is just kind of having the raw course happening. We could go live there, and your people could watch when we're filming in April. So you look overwhelmed, George. Are you okay?
I'm sitting here, I'm just kind of in my head.
Are you just excited?
Well, what you did is you brought up this, like, get your PhD and having tracks. So it's almost like I can go into Aloom and say, man, I want to get back into making saddles again. And I'm going to do that. And so now I have the things that I'm doing, and I do my way. And then I say, man, that's not working out for me. And I can target a particular chapter that Rachel's already laid out. In this block of learning, you will learn this. There's what I want. Instead of going through 14 to 20 hours of video trying to find the one thing I need, she's got it to where I can just drill down immediately. I think that's awesome.
And that's absolutely the intent. Because, you can learn a lot of this stuff, but anybody can get a YouTube channel. And there's great content, and there's great content out there, but to have a place where you can come, and we've curated the content and we've vetted it, and we're trying to put a curriculum to it. I mean, the plans for down the road get really exciting. I mean, the way this used to happen, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, George, is you had the master and the apprentice.
Well, in that the guild system, I think we may have talked about the guild system. Today, people think that it's a skill-based progression, and it is a little bit, but the guild system was not designed around skills or knowledge or ability to do anything. It was a tool to keep. So you got a small town of 300 people. How many cabinet makers do you need in that town? You see what I mean? So the guild said the master was the only guy that could actually sell product. He could have apprentices and journeymen working for him, but we don't need 7 cabinet makers in one little tiny town. So as they progressed up in skill, they were booted out and they went to another town, and the guild actually knew this town needs a cabinet maker, and they would help the guy get started. So you had an apprentice came in the shop, usually at a very tender age. And they started off, sweeping and dusting and sharpening, and then they moved up into sharpening tools, let's say, in a leather shop. And then they may start tempering leather. That's where I started when I was like 8 years old, where we would take all the cut pieces and start the casing process, bag them up, put them in what we call a tempering refrigerator at 40 degrees so they wouldn't mold, and allow that 24 to 30 hours for the humidity to level out through the entire hide. And you did jobs like that. And then you may be doing bar grounding, something of that nature. They always have the young guys do it because it always looks like heck. I mean, backgrounding's a bear. And it's not going to look great. So get the young guy getting his rhythm down with his striking stick and doing his work. And then a journeyman was expected to be able to do everything the apprentice did. The apprentice did what he was told and built to a pattern. A journeyman should be able to do everything the apprentice did, should be able to instruct an apprentice and teach him skills to bring him up, right? And to create product that did not exist before. So now the journeyman's starting to create the patterns and doing this all under the approval of the master. Okay. And the master, if it wasn't right, his name didn't go on it. Even though you built it, the apprentice built it or the journeyman did, the master's name went on it if it met his approval. And that was a signifier to the buying public that this product meets a certain level of skill. Journeymen sometimes were also allowed to sell individual products that the master approved, in the market or something of that nature. So the master did the buying and the selling, and it basically quality control. The journeyman would train apprentices, be able to do every job in the shop, use all the equipment, do every job, and create products that don't exist before. And of course, the apprentice started from everything that nobody else wanted to do, up to producing every product the shop produced. So you could have a saddle from a guild-based shop that was built entirely by apprentices from beginning to end, but was oversaw, instructed, and quality assured by journeymen and masters.
Oh, okay.
And that system really doesn't exist today. And then, when you said curated is very, very important, because how many times have you gone on the YouTube and the guy said, oh man, I took a class yesterday and I built this wallet and now I'm going to teach you how to do it. They've done it once and now they're going to be a teacher. And that was really hurting us for a while, and still is. But, the better leather workers become at making products, the ones that want to sell a product, the better they become when they're charging the correct prices, okay, then they improve and elevate the entire industry to where a fella can make a living off this again. And does that make any sense?
Oh, yeah.
And you're getting some of the best in the world. I mean, these names that you're popping off are, just fantastic makers. And now this student's going to be able to get a one-on-one experience with that fella. How awesome is that?
I thought that was pretty, when they contacted me to film this, you're going to be working with the top artisans in the leather trade.
And then somehow you ended up with me on holsters. I have no idea how, but I'm grateful and I feel blessed.
It's awesome. Make an awesome product. We had a lot of fun. We, brought Eric in, your mentor.
Eric, I want to tease him a little bit. Can we do it?
Yeah. Okay,
so I can only make it down there. I've got to leave the shop for a week, maybe once a year. Okay. But we've done the pancake. We're getting ready to shoot the Avenger. Okay. The classic taco, right? But now there's a whole nother segment of products out there of holsters that people are really fascinated by, which is the IWB, or inside the waistband holster, ultimate concealment. Eric Larson is one of the top guys in the world at designing and building those. Just the best. And he's right in your backyard.
I actually have a funny story about that if we have a minute.
I'm all about funny stories.
I met Eric in a parking lot to pick up a blue gun because I ordered a blue gun and Amazon said, we're not sending it to you. Just out of the blue, and we needed it the next day. So I started calling around, and I got on the phone with Eric, and I said, I'm like, do you sell blue guns? And he's all, what are you doing? And I told him we're trying to do a class on a Glock 17. And he asked me a bunch of questions, and I don't know a lot. I know a lot more after
and you're like,
our time together.
I have no idea.
I just didn't know. I'm like, the gun is blue.
So he decided to take a chance on you and bring you one of the primary tools.
He let me borrow it. I was like, I'll give you a deposit. I'll give you whatever you want. Anyway, we get up there and he's like, it's going to look like I'm giving you a gun. And so he wrapped it in a pair of pants he had. I mean, it was sketchy the whole way.
So you got his blue gun, but you also got the pants off of him.
No, it was another pair of pants. It was not, he didn't, no.
Oh, okay. I was just checking,
But
man.
after all this, you know, he got you coffee. He didn't get me coffee when we filmed.
That's because you ran out of his pants.
Yeah, I guess.
But, you know.
Anyway, then to find out that, you know, he's a really humble guy because he's just helping me.
Right.
He's probably like, this idiot needs a blue gun. But that was nice of him. We really, it's been great working with Eric, and yeah, he's a cool dude.
We're going to be able to get Eric in there to teach a course on IWBs. He is going to bring down his entire die bench again for this class.
Sweet.
His die and finish, so I'm not traveling with hazmat. So we will shoot a little bit of teaser, a little content, you know, to let everybody know what he's going to be doing. Don't know when that filming will come up, but I mean, I'm looking forward to watching Eric at work step by step. How awesome is that, you know?
Well, and you guys were in the course you did on the Glock 19.
Right. But for me to get a chance to watch him on Aloom, step by step, and like a COM 3 or something, holy smokes, what an opportunity. He's made a few videos over the years, but never the kind of video that you're going to be making. And it's just gonna change some people's lives, man. And then if you know, next year, I don't know what time, and we'll talk about it at Pendleton in November, which the Pendleton show, you can meet Derek. How cool is that? You know, and Derek will he will go and get you a cup of coffee and a donut. Personally.
No, I won't.
Yes, he will.
Nobody wants that.
Everybody wants that, you know, and you know, he'll let you take a selfie with him. You'll do selfies. Come on.
That's if somebody. Yeah, that's fine.
We're gonna arrange the Derek take a selfie with Derek charity table.
Get your selfie with Derek.
So, Derek, man, I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's fun.
I hope some people put some questions about lighting and photography and of course videography as well in the comments, and we're going to try to organize them and get back with them. Maybe we get back with them in a short video content or something, or in a simple answer, whatever we can do.
Yeah, let's see what we end up with. But yeah, no, I'm game.
Okay. So guys, you know, and Derek has got all of 2 leather projects under his belt. But, you know, you just heard the names of people that he has videoed for these classes. Super guy. Check out Aloom. Check out Shop Talk. Shop Talk. Hey, Misty, if you ever want to sponsor my videos, I'm here. Just saying, you know. But I'm here. And of course, the Burns, seeing Matt's videos. He's pretty awesome.
There's, yeah, it's been a real privilege, and we're, you know, to sit where I have sat, and to put this all together, and you know, we're just getting started. This is going to be cool.
And I thought I saw something on Facebook, something about getting a free issue of Shop Talk or something on your social media. It was just posted this morning.
Yeah, let's see.
We'll follow that up.
All new subscribers get 1 free Shop Talk magazine.
Yeah.
And then it moved off the Instagram. So check out our Instagram and Facebook for Shop Talk. But
we're gonna get.
I wish I knew more details on that. I'm sorry.
We're gonna get all of the Aloom and contact information, website, and everything down in the show notes and descriptions there. Derek, if you get a chance to, would you mind making like a couple diagrams like what you did, showing how the camera where it would come in between the lights? We're going to put up a link to Newer, a link to Waveform.
Okay. Okay.
We're going to get up some of this stuff.
Let me see what I can come up with. You're really just looking for a 3-point lining with product photography. Let me dig into it, but let's talk about that. Yeah, let's.
Fantastic. And I'll leave a lot of that for you and Jake to visit about how to get it out. He does a lot in the show notes. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Fantastic, brother. It's been a ball. Is there anything I missed that you can think of?
I don't know. I think we've covered it pretty well. I hope everybody's stuck along here with us and had a lot of fun.
Hey, we have like 8 people that watch our videos, and I'm 3 of them.
Well, that is significant. You got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. So, brother, really enjoy getting a chance to visit with you, and we'll follow up. We'll see what happens in the comments.
Well, yeah, and we'll see you here in a couple weeks. So, be ready. I'm going to get you back for all this.
I'm ready, brother. I'm like taking vitamins. I've been out in the track running. I'm dieting. I'm ready. I can take you on. Yeah, this is the new High Speed George.
High Speed George. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, bye, buddy.